Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed, along with Dan, Justin, and Brad. We're previewing Clownheads 1. This is a league that began last year and actually was our first league that we had in the whole Clownheads community. So excited to preview this for year number 2. And to do that, Brad's going to break down this whole league and come up with his two favorites to advance on and get the first round bye. So with that, Brad, take it away.
Yeah, we'll just start it right off with Malahames. Pretty solid squad. She's got Dak and Pickett as her QBs, which isn't bad, but she's got nothing else behind it. She's rocking Barkley and Gibbs as her running back room, which is solid duo, but again, nothing else behind it. She's got Wilson, Pittman, Mooney, Juju, and Dubs as her wide receiver room, which is okay. It's definitely young, so that helps. And then she's got Kelsey, Otten, and Musgrave as her tight end room, which is pretty solid. Next is Dirty Dave Storms. He's got Burrow, Rodgers, and Purdy as his QB room, which is solid 3. He's got Najee, Dobbins, A.J. Dillon, and Brian Robinson as his running back room, which is pretty solid. Got plenty of depth. He's rocking Mike Williams, Christian Watson, Gabe Davis, Jordan Addison as his wide receivers, which is okay. It's not the best, honestly. And then Freiermuth and Tanyan as his tight end room with nothing else behind it, which isn't great. Next, with I Want You Diggs, he's got Mahomes, Goff, and Cousins, which is a pretty good QB room, honestly. And then CMC, Mixon, Jamal Williams, James Cook as his running back room, which is pretty solid as well. He's using Debo, Brandon Cooks, Flowers, Donovan Peoples-Jones as his receivers, which is not the best. And then Dulcich and Higbee as his tight end room, which isn't awesome, but isn't the best either. Next, we've got Last Action Hero. He's got Hurts and Kyler, which is a solid duo, but nothing else. So the injury to Kyler probably is going to hurt him this year. He's got Etienne, Madison, and Herbert for his running back room, which isn't the best, honestly. And then Amon-Ra, Higgins, DK, and Hollywood as his receiving core, which is pretty good and nice and young for him. And then he's got Herb Smith and Kincaid and Everett, which is pretty solid too. Circle the Wagons is rocking Herbert and Watson as their QBs, which is solid, but nothing else. He's got Eckler, Monty, Dalvin Cook, Pacheco for his running back room, which is pretty stout, honestly. And then Keenan Allen, Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, OBJ for his receivers, which is pretty good. Probably gonna have to make a little bit of moves with that. And then he's got Dallas Goedert, Ingram, and Kmet as his tight end room, which is real solid. River AD has Josh Allen and Tannehill as their QBs, which isn't the best. Probably have some problems here. And then Brees, Ramondre, and Gibson as their running back room, which is okay. Probably needs a little bit more depth there. And then Devontae Adams, Godwin, Tony, Claypool for the receiver room, which is it's okay. It's not the best. I mean, Claypool's not what you want for your fourth receiver, but and then Kittle, Schultz, and Laporta for their tight end room, which isn't bad at all. Jay Batista has Howell, Ritter, AR, Bryce for their QB room, which is pretty good and got plenty of depth there. They've got JT, Kamara, Connor, P. Ryan for their running back room, which is pretty solid. And then CD, Waddle, Christian Kirk, and Dodson for their wide receiver room, which is real young. I think that's their strong point. And they also have JSN to just lay down there on the bench. And then Njoku and Mayer as their tight end room, which is young again. Miley OR has Carr and Dobbs as their QB room, which probably isn't what you'd want. Charbonnet, Rashad White, and Harris is their running back room, which isn't the best either. They're probably going to have some work to do with this team. They got Cup, Brown, Michael Thomas, Ridley, Sutton, and Mechie, though, in the receivers. So they've got a pretty solid receiving core. And then Pitts and Likely as their tight end room, which isn't the best. I mean, Likely isn't what you want for your tight end, too. Next, we have JDM. And, yeah, shout out to Justin there. He's got Tua as his only really starting QB. So he'll probably have to work on his QB room.
Caleb Williams.
He's got Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Swift, and Pierce for his running back room, which is pretty stout, honestly. It's great. And then he's working with JJ, Deontay Johnson, Burks, Nico Collins as his wide receiver room, which is a good start. Probably do some more with that in the future. And then he's got Henry, McBride, and Conklin as his tight end room, which isn't the best, but it's also not something he has to worry about too much. And then next is Fantasy Clown. He's got plenty of QBs in this league with Lamar, Trevor, Baker, Jordan Love, and Danny Dimes. And then he's got Bijan, Javante, and Akers for his running back room, which is actually pretty good. Not what I'm used to seeing his teams look like. And then he's got Olave, London, Pickens, and J-Mo for his wide receiver room, which is young and has loaded with potential. And then he's got Taysom Hill and Harrison Bryant as his tight ends. So that's definitely a position he'll have to work on in the future. And then we'll take it to the two teams I think will be in there at the end here. And the first one is Jason Pero, who won last year in this league. I think he'll make it back. Yep, we got it up here. And then, I mean, as you can see, his teams, I mean, this league was pretty spread out, but I mean, he probably has the best of a mediocre situation in this league. I mean, he's working with Mac Jones, Jimmy G, and Justin Fields for his QB room, so he can kind of take an injury and be okay. And then he's got Derrick Henry, Chubb, and Sanders for his running back room, which is pretty solid, especially for this year. He's got Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Ayuk for his receivers, which is pretty stout, with guys like Jacoby Myers on the bench. And then he's got Hawkinson, Knox, and Hurst as his tight ends, which is, I mean, it can play with anybody in this league. Nobody really had a crazy set of tight ends. And then our next team is going to be Jim Instant Karma. I mean, his team probably isn't the team that's picked to go here, but like I said, it was spread out across the league. I mean, I think he's got as good a shot as any. I mean, he's working with Geno, Wilson, and Stafford as his QBs, which isn't the best, but it's 3 QBs, and a lot of people in this league only have 2 or 1. So, I mean, I think he'll be fine there. He's got Pollard and Aaron Jones as his running back core, which it is old, but it's okay. And then Deion Jackson there down on his bench. So, I mean, I think he'll be okay with the running backs. I'm sure he'll make some moves or something. And then he's got Diggs, Mike Evans, D-Hop, and Amari Cooper as his receivers, are kind of old, but I think they'll all produce this year to push him to the finals. And then his tight ends are Andrews and Waller, which is probably the best duo in this league, honestly. So I mean, I think he'll play with anybody, and then he's got Fant on the bench, so I think he'll be right there.
Well, thank you for that, Brad. I'm anxious to see what Dan says, the analytics say, and who really comes through. I guess I'm kind of looking at those last two teams. Of course, I do agree with you. I think Jason Pardo is going to be tough to beat, and maybe going to get that Empire pot. $200 goes to him. He can win it back to back, and it might be there. But one of the things I noticed on both rosters is there's people that aren't on NFL teams on their rosters. I saw Jim Simpson Karma is sporting Tom Brady. So I guess I just really thought, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And really, if we can out waiver wire them, and that's going to be my challenge as I looked at that team and said, okay, how am I going to beat it? It's going to be to just outperform on the everyday, the everyday roster moves, and just be better at setting the lineup and creating the most out of a little. So anyway, I'm anxious to see what the analytics say there, Dan. What do they say?
Oh, believe it or not, it does have Jason Parro as the 7th team in the league.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, because when I looked at it too, I thought, with Waller and Andrews as the tight end with 3 quarterbacks,
well, that's Jim Vincent Parra that had
Jason Parro, yeah.
No, Jim Vincent Karma had the tight end room.
Oh, okay.
Waller.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry then. But he finished. He was 6, so I was 6, 7. Believe it or not, the winners of the 2 leagues to predict it is I Won You Diggs and Circle the Wagons.
Yeah.
The 2 teams projected to win, but a lot of parity in the league. A lot of teams projected to win between 8 and 9 wins. So that's going to be a 9-5, 8-6 type, rolling in the playoffs.
Okay. So, and those 6 and 7 seeds, what are their records? Are they about 500? Is that what every team is?
7-7, 8-7. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what's the best team? Like the I Won You Diggs.
9-5.
Okay. So everything, the playoffs are going to come down to 2 games.
Yep.
Either way. Mm-hmm. What does Justin have? How many wins does he get?
5.
Okay. So, but
that's one more than you.
What was that?
That's one more than you.
So I have 4. Okay.
4.8, which surprised me because I think your team is the up and coming. I'm shocked myself for.
I mean, beyond tight end, I feel like my team's really good. Like I'm very comfortable as I was looking it over. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, maybe
just goes to show how important tight ends are.
Yeah.
In this league, it really is, because your team's stacked, and you look at the tight ends and it's depleted, and then you look and you're like, wow. As good as your team is.
Yeah, that's why
I'll maneuver tight end. I think I'll figure some out. I have a couple ideas of some tight ends. I won't divulge it quite yet until we get to our waiver show, but I've got some ideas of tight ends and things.
But you better hope they pan out.
Well, no, I mean, there's a lot of them. There's always tight ends that come out of nowhere every year, so it doesn't. You can get them. But yeah, we'll hit that on the waiver show. But yeah, good work, guys, and it's kind of interesting that my 4 wins then to the 9 wins of first place. That's only a separation of 5 wins, really, and you can really get in the playoffs probably with 7 wins. So 3 wins away, and that's just 3 games. So it'll be interesting to see as this league goes on, and how we all do. And I guess we'll have to make sure that Jason doesn't get back-to-back wins and take that so we can build that empire pot a little bit and not give 200 away this year. So with that being said, thank you guys all for watching. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell so that you know when we drop videos. And any comments you have, please put them in the comments section or ask any questions you might have. And so we thank you guys all for watching the Fantasy Football Clown Show Clown Heads 1 preview for the 2023 season. So long for now.